Welcome back. I've got Mohamed Hamza on the line. Mohamed, how are you today?
How are you doing, Michael? Thank you for having me.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation. You do a ton of work in the leadership space, so why don't you share a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into the conversation.
All right. So my background is in leadership development. I started my career as in leadership development. Had the opportunity to work with many leaders all over the world. Uh, I am Egyptian. I've been living in Saudi Arabia for the past 10 years, and I did a lot of work in Europe as well. So most of my work is in the Middle East, but still big chunk of my work is in Europe.
Well, the Middle East has seen some absolutely amazing growth when it comes to businesses, technology, digital currency, you name it. It is one of those areas when people say, what areas are booming? I said, well, there's a lot of places around the planet, but the Middle East for sure has been seeing some absolutely rapid growth. And I, for one, love that because it just means that the talent pool is getting bigger and we're getting better things for all of us, across the globe. So I celebrate, the continued success and growth in that region. It's amazing to see, the innovation that's coming from there. And, obviously from your situation, with the, global experience you have with leadership and coaching and things like that. One of the questions that came to mind when I was doing research about you and the work that you and your team does is, where do you see, because we're starting to see, and in conversations I've had with a lot of different people, is, when you're training leaders and training your staff and workplace culture and all the things that we hear about today, it seems that, there's a renewed focus or maybe a more direct focus on the coaching aspect of things than there have been in the past. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's a very good observation, Michael. So coaching is growing really fast in the region. I mean, globally it's growing, but especially in the region, it's growing really fast. And I think it comes to the fact that, uh, first of all, I think the uh, population here is very young, and as you mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is that it's like everything related to technology, new things, new experiences. They're really up for it. Everybody's up for it. So that is one reason. Another thing is that, as you also mentioned, it's growing really fast, and everybody's moving very fast, and everybody needs a lot of support to make sure that we're achieving our goals, right? So any support possible is considered, including modern ways of developing leaders. And I think also because a lot of uh, leaders in the Middle East, again, they've been exposed to so many things, so they understand that you cannot actually develop leaders only by content, because that's what we do, right? So we assume that I have a manager who is I'm facing challenges with, then let's get him to a course with a lot of content and expect them to be better, right? Which is it doesn't work this way. It's you need a lot of other stuff, which is the like a lot of awareness, a lot of reflection, and this is the stuff that we normally lack in the leadership practices, and coaching brings this. So I think this is one of the most important reasons for this.
Yeah, sometimes you hear people refer to it as soft skills, but I call it as just, being a human being and being observant and, studying from others. And again, I don't want to make this a commercial for the Middle East per se, but my observation, being in North America, my observation has been, they have been, in that region has been really smart and they're studying all over the globe. They're not just focusing on, okay, what are they doing in the States or what are they doing in the UK? But they're also, looking, around the globe as, different aspects of leadership and people development and organizational growth and, market expansion and all of that. Yeah, you can look at the numbers, you can crunch numbers and you can say, okay, this is where I think we'll be successful. But uh, it all boils down to your people. And when you are wanting to grow your organization and inspire people to do amazing things, with the talent that they bring to the table, you have to kind of create the environment for them to thrive in that. And I agree with you. Here, go take this course. I mean, it's much like all the legislatively required courses that a lot of organizations have to take year after year. Okay, here's your safety test. Okay, yeah, you passed this. Or I worked in healthcare. Okay, so here's all the hazardous material. Okay, what kind of hazardous material is this? For me, it's like, well, if it could kill me, it's hazardous. But what logo do you want me? What skull and crossbone logo do you want me to do? The one with the triangle around it, or the one that kind of looks like a nuclear bomb behind it? Which one? And but and those are important. I'm not diminishing those. It's good for us to have a refresher because hopefully we never have to experience, okay, what kind of hazard is this? But it boils down to just understanding your people and creating an environment for them to want to grow and thrive. And those and one of the things that the last 5 years has thrown at all of us, with the pandemic and the global strife and everything else that's going on, is it's forced many people to really learn how to adapt and reflect. And again, that's one of those things, especially if you're a young leader. You're like, well, how do I reflect? My experiences have been, okay, I'm fresh out of school. I've got some of those experiences, and maybe I've worked on a handful of projects, but I don't necessarily have all of the things that I need. Which, here's a spoiler alert to all the young leaders. Us older leaders, we still don't have everything we need. But you know what? We can figure it out. You know why? Because it's called mentors. It's called asking people. It's called talking with people and seeking guidance. I find the majority of people that I've ever reached out to in life, can I pick your brain, or can I get quick advice on this, and just frame it in a way that they can get back to you quickly. Some will respond quickly. Some will say, you know what, let's jump on a call and let's have a 90-minute call. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm getting 90 minutes with this individual. It's like, okay, I better bring 2 notepads because I'm going to be writing a lot. And it's just reach out. Don't expect that you know everything, but expect how to find out what you need to find out. And sometimes as time goes on, you get a little bit more aware, and you just end up being a lot better leader. But we've talked about coaching quite a bit. The key thing for everybody too is they have to be coachable. And I know in many cases we run into people that they are beyond talented, but they are not. For some reason, they're not open to being coached. And, that creates a lot of dynamic challenges. And I'm sure you've seen it over your career when you run into situations like that. So I'd love to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think this is everywhere in the world. It's not different, Middle East or not. I mean, again, I don't want to make it again also a promotion to the Middle East. I'm really happy that you're aware of what's happening here. That's a good thing. But I mean, it's everywhere. We see a lot of people who are participate in misery contests. You know what's a misery contest? When I'm saying, like I'm really tired. I slept like 3-4 hours yesterday. And say, no, I slept 2 hours. It's like everybody's trying to show the other person how more miserable their life is and how more hard their life is, and so on, just to get them to sympathize with them, and which actually allows them to find a justification for failure. And people who don't want to do stuff, normally they're not coachable. And a lot of people also, not a lot of people, but some people would say that I know enough. I don't need to learn from any other. I don't need to learn or develop in general. But I mean, the good idea also about coaching is that the coach doesn't actually tell you what to do. The coach brings whatever that's inside of you and puts it forward. So that's the way coaching works. It helps you reach the solution your own way. So that's why also it works, but don't expect it to be the right solution for everyone. It's not magic, and I hope it was, but it's not. So in reality, some people really respond well to coaching. A lot of people respond well to coaching. You can see a lot of outcomes and results and everything, but it's like any other thing, right? Some people don't benefit from coaching because of many reasons. But I wouldn't say that this is the majority, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the most people that I've encountered, especially when I was in any type of leadership role, leading individuals, I could tell, because I could read people to a certain degree, that, some are going to be a little bit more open than others to it. In many cases, it wasn't a case of, okay, they're just not going to be open to this. It's like, they don't know me yet, or maybe I don't know them well enough yet. So let's dig in a little deeper and find out, what, I don't want to say what motivates you, but it's like, okay, what inspires you to do this type of work? And I remember when I was running some healthcare clinics, I'd hired a nurse educator, and she absolutely amazing, poster child for hiring somebody that was willing to learn and grow and do all kinds of different things. And, even to the point where, she wanted to, go into public speaking because she knew that that was going to be an avenue for her to get, promoted and work, higher up in the ranks in the healthcare system. And I not only encouraged it, I dug up some research, like, here, go to talk to these events, talk to these people, and just start talking, get out there. As you naturally do it anyways. You do presentations all the time at work and in front of patients. You're already doing it. And it was one of those things where that was a light bulb moment for her, because she thought, wait a minute, because she had this fear of, I don't know if I could speak in public. It's like, you're talking to a group of 15 or 20 patients about something that they don't know anything about. You're educating them. When they leave, they understand a little bit better. So maybe they'll take better care of themselves. Fingers crossed. It's like, you're already doing it. So now, improve on that. Well, long story short, she found a higher ranking position in the healthcare system outside of where our clinic was. And it was a huge promotion for her. But one of the biggest things that helped her with that was her presentation skills. So I sat back, I'm like, boy, am I glad we had that conversation. I wasn't taking credit for it. She's the one that did it. But I felt good that we had that conversation, because I was able to find out from her, okay, what do you want to do? All right, we'll go do this, maybe talk at this conference. I can make an introduction. You can maybe present at this healthcare conference. So the best way to do public speaking is to do public speaking. Just get out there and do it. And what she ended up doing is, it's worked out quite well for her. And, I anticipate her, maybe running a department, or who knows, she could be running the entire healthcare system at some point in her career. She's young enough, she's got a long runway. If that's what her passion is at this point. But ultimately, it's when you do that in an organization, you don't have to focus on one person. You can create that environment for everybody. And when you do that, boy, oh boy, does that make it for a healthier organization. And then you don't have the retention problems. You don't have the turnover. You don't have the low productivity. You just see things thrive. And
Yeah.
and it's one of those things. And, you and I, I'm not going to guess your age or anything like that, but, we remember, the days of, the .com era, when the internet was firstly becoming really popular in the workplace. And it was an absolute, chaotic zoo, fun time type of situation. Kind of similar to what's going on right now with AI, but I,
Yeah.
but AI, I think, is a little different. And, obviously I want to honor your time, but I want to get your kind of your insights on AI and the leadership as well. But I think that when you have environments where there's exciting opportunities for innovation, you get the best of people, because they're all into it. But, I want to hear some of your thoughts as we wrap things up, what your thoughts are around leadership and AI, and, maybe how to calm the nerves of leaders, because I think a lot of them right now are a bit scared and apprehensive about what we're seeing.
And that's very good. So I want to comment on one thing that you mentioned also on your story, because I think it makes sense that when managers have good leadership capabilities and coaching skills, this creates a completely different environment, right? So when you're having an environment when you can go to a manager, even if your manager, I know that coaching doesn't have clearly advices, but I mean, if your manager has coaching skills, advice in general is not a bad thing, right? So yeah, we always tell people that you cannot provide advice in a coaching session, but you can provide advice in general because you have experience and you need to pass the torch, right? So that's part of the manager's role. But having the coaching skills, getting people to be very comfortable to come to you, ask for advice, and discuss things with you. And with like really basic things, people sometimes don't see because they are in the situation. And when you're in the situation, you don't see everything clearly, as when you're outside and you can see everything. So having the capability of being a leader who has coaching skills, this is really good for the team and for the corporate environment in general. As for the AI, to be honest, I think it's, I mean, who knows? Who knows what's the impact, right? So, I mean, it's moving really fast. As you can see, I'm using AI a lot in so many things. I think I can see every day something new happening. They were saying last year, they were saying that AGI should be in 2025. I'm not sure it is now, but it's so many things are very, like developing like very fast. A lot of tools are being developed in the whole like corporate space, especially in leadership and in coaching spaces, because I think also there is a lot of platforms who can help you become a better coach, help you apply things and try things with AI. Leadership wise, again, leadership is a relationship, right? So leadership is a human thing. So far, to be completely honest, I don't know what's going to happen, right? Because everything is moving so fast. So many things we assume that it's not going to be, AI is not going to be able to do that soon. And now it's doing it, right? Like with video, with the Google, what they did. I think it's revolutionary. I don't know what's going to happen, for example, in the film industry or in marketing and advertising industry. Yes, you'll have to have people thinking about things, but then some jobs obviously will be obsolete. What I understand, like from what we've seen before, is like when the industrial revolution came, everybody said, okay, that's it. We're not going to be able to do anything. What happened is that it created also other jobs. So as human beings, what happens, like whatever something like this comes, we manage to, this new thing replaces some jobs and replaces a lot of the stuff that we're doing, and we do other stuff. We create other stuff. I assume that this is going to be the outcome of having AI. It's going to replace a lot of things, but new things will come up. But again, you never know, right? So, but I think it's better to have a positive mindset around it and use it as something that can help, because definitely can, right?
Absolutely. I use it a lot myself, but from a leadership standpoint, yeah, it's still relationships that make the difference. I mean, you can use AI, like we have with, the personality tests and things like that, but it tends to be a little bit more in tune where you can, kind of get a little clearer picture as to, okay, what motivates Cliff or Stacy on things. And okay, Abraham is on the trajectory to be the CEO of this organization. What are some things that we can talk about in our meetings that can kind of help move that along? And it can give you, a nice outline, some talking points, basically. And so it's insane how quickly, and I've been playing around with it for, a couple of years now. It's insane what it's done already. And I'm excited for it. I mean, obviously, like, I agree with you what you said. As we've seen in history, there have been roles that have been, eliminated or significantly reduced, from horseshoe makers when the cars came out to, at some point, we may not use as much gasoline because we're using electric vehicles, and maybe we'll use something besides electricity to power our vehicles, or maybe we'll be using air or sand, or who knows, that. And again, that's where the people come into it. Let's get some innovation and go, okay, what can we use? And again, keep in mind, we don't want to use it all up because we need things, but it's, you have to factor all of that in for the, the greater good. But this has been an amazing conversation, Mohamed. Where can people find about you and all this amazing work you do?
Would be the best way to see what we're doing at Mercer. We're doing huge work in the leadership development space and in the coaching space as well. So we're working globally with many clients all over the world, helping their leaders become better leaders, using new and modern ways of developing others, not just the typical content-based or content-only based development. We're doing really interesting stuff that actually makes a difference. So learning about the Mercer Leadership Center and myself on LinkedIn, I think LinkedIn would be the best way.
Awesome. I'll definitely all that in the show notes. So again, Mohamed, thank you again for your time. Really appreciate you and all the amazing work you're doing. So thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me.